Hello there, this is Group E, and our topic is advertising in politically polarized digital landscape. Our hypothetical company is Glow and Grit, and it's a skincare brand which is gender neutral and dermatologist approved and eco packaged and all the good stuff. Our first research question is how can ethical brands reduce backlash in polarized UK markets? The other one is how does segmentation improve ad performance under greenwashing rules? Let's look at the goals and strategic tensions. Glow and Grit's 2025 strategic priorities reflect a pivot toward quiet credibility. The brand seeks to rebuild customer trust, expand generational appeal, and redefine its advertising voice in a landscape shaped by political division and tightening regulation, all while staying true to its ethical roots. Their core challenges are reputational risk, woke washing and stuff, greenwashing crackdown, for example, we can't use eco-conscious phrases and then fragmented audience, the difference between Gen Z, Gen X, and older millennials, and their paid media volatility, which says that their ROS has been decreasing by 17% since Q2 2024. Their current advertising strategy hasn't been doing really good. And here's our recommended advertising strategy. From slogans, we're going to move to substantiated claims. We're going to use specific proof like 94% PCR plastic or wrap verified. We're going to avoid generic terms like green or planet friendly. We'll move from identity cues to operational proof. We're going to showcase processes and we'll touch rainbow overlays and stuff, anything that can trigger another person's response. From national message to local relevance. For smarter platform playbook, we'll use TikTok, Meta, Instagram, and email. For TikTok, we'll use authentic peer-led videos. For Meta, we'll use value forward, and we'll do A/B testing on benefit-led copy versus value forward. For Instagram, we're going to use hybrid visuals. For emails, we're going to use choice-based journeys and consent-first marketing, according to HBR 2022. We're also going to redefine audience segmentation. We'll segment by values, affinity, and not just age and location. Activist Gen Z is urban. Pragmatic parents are suburbans. Function first Gen X are rural. And we'll also use behavior and beliefs. Climate action, sustainability detail works, price focused product benefit campaigns, and then political ambivalence, avoid ideology. The key creative formula is quiet disruption. External slogans are better than internal proof, and we'll focus on what we do, not who we are. CMA compliance, very important. No green or ethical without hard evidence. We'll audit all ad copy before publishing. And platform precision is also really important for TikTok, story, Instagram, style, meta, segmentation for email, control. And risk mitigation is also very important. We're only going to show values that led to ads that segmented the response that resonates with us.
So, moving on to the personalization strategy for Glow and Grit in today's polarized digital space. Right now, personalization is no longer just about targeting, it's about trust, with values led campaigns facing backlash online, especially on TikTok and X. Brands are under more scrutiny than ever. Regulatory oversight from the CMA also means that claims like eco friendly now need actual proof, so Glow and Grit must personalize based on first party data. On to audience fragmentation. Political values are deeply influencing how people interpret brand messages, even when the product is good. Audiences want bold ethical stances and identity based content. Meanwhile, older millennials and rural Gen prefer neutral, results focused on messaging. So, Glow and Grit needs to move beyond broad targeting and customize based on values, not just age or location. Real time sentiment tracking. To manage this fragmentation, real time sentiment tracking is key. Before launching, the brand should test different versions of ad copy with small groups during campaigns. They need to track how people are reacting, especially on platforms like TikTok and Meta. Now, moving on to email strategy. Email marketing is another powerful space for ethical personalization. We suggest letting users set their own preferences. For example, how often they want to be emailed or what type of content they care about. Clear labels like how we reduced plastic this month improve transparency, while a visible update preference button gives users control and builds loyalty. Okay, so now moving on to our last website personalization. And finally, on the website, Glow and Grit can use quiz based tools to offer a personalized experience like asking, what do you care most about? And tailoring recommendations according to the preferences.
Moving on to data privacy, the current regulatory environment, particularly the CMA 2024 directives, demand that all environmental claims must be evidence-based. This means we need to be able to back up every eco-friendly statement with measurable proof. However, this increased scrutiny on data also presents challenges, particularly around collecting sensitive user information. There are able clear consent issues under UK GDPR if we aren't transparent about why and how we are collecting data. So our recommendation are therefore, first we must only collect data that's absolutely essential to substantiate our claims, like product users feedback through opt-in surveys. Secondly, we need to provide crystal clear justification for every piece of data we request. For example, explicitly stating we ask about packaging preference to improve our sustainable packaging practices. And lastly, and for any public reporting, we use aggregated and optimized data collection method to protect individual privacy. This approach ensures compliance while building trust through transparency. Second challenge is our brand Glitz and Glow is facing a fragmented audience. Our audience isn't monolith when it comes to privacy. We are dealing with fragmented privacy expectations. When we observe that Gen Z, especially in urban areas, are highly privacy conscious and expect complete transparency regarding their data usage. They are also less tolerant of vague or ideological persuasion. In contrast, millennials and older generation in rural areas are more conservative areas, may less aware of the tracking, but are equally intolerant of messaging they prescribed as overly ideological. Therefore, our recommendation is to implement a segmented privacy experience. For Gen Z, we will present comparative cookie settings and clearly explain the rationality behind any AI-generated recommendation. For older users, we will offer straightforward plain language policies with clear opt-out options. This tailored approach respects individual preferences and builds trust across our diverse customer base. We also need to address the volatility in paid media and concern around data scraping. To mitigate reputational risk and surveillance concern, we need to build our customers using first-party loyalty data, like quiz responses and in-app interactions. We will not rely on social media ideology tags and third-party data resources. Furthermore, we will empower users by allowing them to participate in our campaigns without mandatory personal information sharing. For instance, no mandatory logins to access cause-related content. And to underscore our unwavering commitment to respecting diversity and upholding that digital dignity, we will release a public privacy and ethical character. This solidifies our brand stance and assures our brand audience of ethical approach to their data.
To ensure Glow and Grit remains both culturally relevant and commercially resilient in today's polarized climate, we will recommend a strategic pivot in several key areas. First, the brand will shift from broad slogan driven messaging to CMA compliant evidence based communication. Language like planet friendly will be replaced with provable claims, for example, 94% post consumer recycled plastic verified by RAP UK. This reframing will apply across ad copy, packaging, and influencer content to meet regulatory standards while reinforcing brand credibility. Second, we will localize and segment future campaigns based on audience values and political sensitivity. Gen Z audiences in metropolitan areas will still see bold, purpose led messaging. However, in more conservative regions or among older millennial segments, we will adjust tone to prioritize product benefit over identity led themes. This approach will allow Glow and Grit to speak with relevance, not resistance. Third, the brand will replace seasonal activism such as one off Pride Month gestures with year round proof led storytelling. This includes highlighting ethical sourcing processes, certified partnerships, and behind the scenes operations that demonstrate impact without overstatement. Fourth, we will tailor a strategy by platform. TikTok will remain our value forward channel using real voices and storytelling. Meta Ad, by contrast, will prioritize neutral, benefit driven creative with common moderation and A B testing to mitigate risk. Finally, Glow and Grit will build internal safeguard, implementing claim verification checklist, updating influencer guidelines, and tracking real time sentiment to inform campaign rollout discussions. By adopting this strategy, the brand will protect its values while ensuring commercial performance, legal compliance, and long term consumer trust.
Moving along, my last segment is consumer behavior and how it is shifting in the current UK landscape. What we are seeing is a growing divide. On one hand, political rights and the other hand, media backlash have made many brands more cautious, especially around topics like diversity, sustainability, and activism. But on the other hand, today's consumer, especially the Gen Z, wants more than just products. They want brands to present their values. In fact, recent surveys from YouGov and Deloitte shows that over 60% of Gen Z in the UK will stop buying from brands they feel are being performative or inauthentic. So brands are stuck in balancing out both sides. Say too much, too risky, too backlash. What should they do? Our recommendation lead with action, not slogan. For example, instead of saying we are sustainable, show data like how plastic waste has been reduced. Instead of bold statement, tell subtitle stories about real employees, real customers, or real partnership that reflect your values. At heart of it, consumer behavior is about trust, and right now trust comes from transparency, consistency, and authenticity. Thank you so much.